Yes, we are live again on the clinic with Oluwatosin Oladimeji Ladipo. It's a wonderful privilege, like I've always said, if not for life, if not because God has preserved us, there is no way we always have this program every Sunday. So I want to use this opportunity to say a big thank you to God for the preservation of life that He has given to me. I really appreciate Him for that. And I want use this medium also to appreciate our viewers for always coming online every Sunday to ensure that this program, is still continuing. We started last year, it's more than a year now that we started this program, and grace has been working for us. We must give that to God for the privilege He's been giving to us. Yes, it's another time on the clinic with Oluwatosin Oladimeji Ladipo. You, as you all know, we started a series last week Sunday on the raising of the boy child. Raising of a Boy Child. That was a series we started last week Sunday, and we are still going to continue for 3 weeks or 4 weeks. That is what we'll be discussing, the raising of a boy child. That is what we'll be discussing for 4 weeks. Now today, what are we discussing? Ask me, what's the topic for today? I know you all know because we have given you expo on our different social media platform. The expo is there. Yes, we are talking about the raising of a boy by a single mom. The raising of a boy child by a single mom. And you wonder why we are treating that, because I've seen this boy. A lot of people, by the time we continue, you are going to hear that, because a lot of people have been saying all the boys, the children raised by single mom, they always challenge children, probably problematic, this and that, a lot of bad things about them. About the boys raised by single mom. But in this case, we want to tell you that most cases it's not like that. Sincerely, it's not like that, because we have seen boys that are being raised by single mom and they are doing so well, extremely well. And that is what we'll be looking at today. What to do, the solutions to all these challenges. You might feel that it's not easy to for a single mom to raise a child. It's not easy for a single mom to do this. But we want to ask our guest today the strength she has in raising a boy. In fact, just hold on. I don't want to speak for her. You will hear from her by yourself. Not to waste too much of our time, let me quickly introduce our guest to you. Her name is Mrs. Uyi Ariyo. Yes, she's Mrs. Uyi Igbinogun Ariyo. She's a primary teacher of Cold Harbor Primary School, all the way from Milton Keynes in UK. That is who our guest today is. Now let me bring her on so that you can welcome her formally. I'm bringing in our guest.
Hello, viewers.
Hello, our guest. You can see our pretty guest. Yes, you can see our pretty guest. This is our guest this evening. She will be talking to us about the raising of a boy child. As a single mom, how was she able to cope? Were there challenges? Oh, no, just let's hear from her. I'm not the guest, really. I'm only coordinating, So let's hear from her. Mrs. Ariyo, you're welcome this evening. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for having me on your show.
Okay, you can see the smile. Thank you. It's an honor to have you. It's an honor. I remember we've been trying to have you for like twice or 3 times now. And we've been trying to have you due to one thing or the other, due to this, due to that. I remember one time it was due to NSAS.
That's right.
NSAS, yes, so we're unable to have her. Now we have her today, live and direct. Another round of applause. We have another round of applause. Somebody said, well done, sisters, and that is Mrs. Lola Obembe. Thank you so much, Mrs. Lola Obembe. Like I said, we are not going to waste too much of our time this evening. So we'd like to hear from Mrs. Ariyo. What else do you think we should know about you, aside the things I've said about you?
Okay, I think you've introduced me well enough. My name is Uyosa Igbinogun, Mrs. Ariyo. I have a son who is 12 years old. I am a teacher here at Milton Keynes. And don't know. What else do you want to know?
You don't know. You tell us.
Yeah, it's a privilege to be on your show, like I said, and I'm looking forward to having a conversation about the topic of today.
All right. Thank you so much, Mrs. Ariyo. It's a great privilege, like I said earlier on. We are so glad as well to have you. People are coming already. Hikoriade, thank you for coming. We appreciate you. He said hello, ma. Hello, ma. Hello to you too. Now, like I said, it's a question and answer thing. We like us asking our guests questions, and I know most of them they always have a way of pouring it out to us. And most times we tell them, would you like to come back again? Because you're unable to exhaust everything. Now, our first question to you, Mrs. Ariyo. What challenges are single moms raising boys facing? And how do you think they can surmount these challenges?
Okay.
Challenges.
Yes. Just before I go ahead to share my opinion, I just wanted to make it clear that this is my personal experience, and the experiences for other people would be completely different to mine. So I will be sharing this and having a conversation based on my personal experience, and hope that people can relate. And like I said, it would be different to others, but hopefully one or two people can get something from my experience. So coming to your question, what are the challenges? I think the number one challenge would be carrying the load all by yourself, not having a person to share the responsibility with. So that's the number one challenge that a single parent would face raising a child, and especially raising a boy child. There are things that naturally a dad would take responsibility for. But being a single parent and raising the boy, you have that sole responsibility of managing everything. So definitely doing everything by yourself is one major challenge that a single parent would experience. I think another challenge it relates to doing everything by yourself, not having anybody to discuss or share an opinion with in terms of making life choices and decisions that would impact that child. So you're the judge and the jury, if you like, all by yourself, making the decision and hoping that God guides your decision and the choices that you make. So yes, making the decisions regarding life and regarding that child all by yourself is definitely another challenge that a single parent would face. And I think another one, which is a big deal, is the financial burden. Usually, when you have both parents raising children, they still complain that it's expensive. So imagine being a single parent and having to do everything by yourself. So the financial burden is definitely a major challenge for single parents raising children. And just finally on that question, I would say perhaps the discipline. Being a single parent, you have to be the loving, supportive, and caring parent. You also have to be the disciplinarian as well. So you have that sole responsibility of doing everything by yourself. So in my opinion, these are the main challenges that I would say being a single parent and raising a boy child by yourself would face.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Ariyo. In fact, indeed, there are lots of challenges. Even raising a child by both parents, there are challenges. Talk less of a single mom. Thank you so much. We have the question we asked. I guess it has two parts. The question has two parts. The first one is the challenge. Are there challenges? The second one is, how do you think those challenges can be surmounted?
I think number one, first and foremost, is you are a parent. It doesn't really matter if you're a single parent or you're co-parenting that child. Your first responsibility is that you're a parent. And for me, I had to wear that hat to say, yes, I am the parent. These are the things that I need to do. Then that means I'm not worried about not having a partner at the time. All I was just focused on was raising my child and raising him well. So I think for me, the way I was able to surmount the challenge was just tell myself that this is my child. I am the parent. I have the responsibility of doing the right thing by him, of raising him up, and just living life really, not worrying. Because I think if you worry, thinking, oh, this is too much for me, then it hinders your ability to do your best. So for me, I just made up my mind. I'm a parent. I'm going to do my best to raise my child. So that's how I was able to surmount those challenges.
Mrs. Ario, the courageous Mrs. Ario. That's the answer you gave. The courageous Mrs. Ario, taking life with courage.
Yes.
This is life. I have to face it. Who will do it if I don't do it? In fact, that is serious courage, and I'm really, really touched by it. Thank you so much, Mrs. Ario. Now let's go to our next question. What benefits are what benefits are in a woman single-handedly raising a son? Are there benefits in a single mom raising a son?
Yeah, I think there are benefits. People might not agree, but in my opinion, I think there are benefits to raising a child single-handedly. I think it counters the challenge I said before, not having a person to discuss with. But when you're doing things single-handedly, you know what you want, and you're not waiting for somebody else to come and how do I put it? For somebody else to give you the permission, if you like, to do something. You know what you want. You know what you want for your child. You just go ahead and do it. So the time for waiting and having conversations, it's really not there. So I think one of the benefits would be just getting things done without wasting time or having prolonged conversations about things. So that's a major benefit that I would say raising a child would be. Another one would perhaps be doing things the way you want it, because we are all different human beings. A dad might have a different opinion or a different idea for that child. And you, as a mom, you might have a different opinion or a different idea or a different gift that you've seen in a child that perhaps the dad hasn't seen, or the dad is thinking like a man and wants that child to go that way. But I think being a single parent and raising that child single handedly, you support that vision that you see without, again, not discussing it or waiting for somebody else to, okay, allowing somebody else to have a go as well. You know what you see that vision, and you support that child to go with it. So I think those are perhaps the benefits, doing things your own way of raising a child single-handedly. It
Well,
might
like,
not necessarily be the right way. You might make mistakes, but just having that freedom of doing things the way that you want it, in my opinion, would be one benefit.
I like what you just said. It might not necessarily be the right way,
Yeah.
because you might feel it the right way, but not necessarily. Do you understand? And I like that. You are just being sincere. You are yourself. And I'm happy with the sincere answer you're giving to us. Like somebody wrote here, that's no conflict of parental ideas. That's one of the benefits.
Yeah,
I guess
I agree.
no conflict of parental ideas. Mommy wants it this way. Daddy wants it this way. No, mommy wants I to be the doctor. Daddy wants I to be the footballer. So, mommy and daddy, I'm confused. What do you want me to do? Like that. So,
Yeah.
sometimes children get confused. Thank you so much, Mrs. Ario. Thank you. Now, our next question to you is, how can a single mom instill discipline in the son?
I think for me, when it comes to discipline, what I tell myself is, what do I want for my child? How do I want my child to turn up? What sort of a man do I want him to be when he grows up? That's what I always use when it comes to discipline. That means I'm not going to let things slide when he should be doing things the right way just because I'm a single parent. That's really isn't an excuse. So it means that the disciplines are there. And the best way that I have found I can discipline my child is talk to him and withhold certain privileges that he perhaps would ordinarily enjoy. So he knows when he's done something wrong because there's that withdrawal of certain privileges, and then he learns and he grows from that. So definitely discipline is a big deal, especially being a single parent, because you want that boundary to be there. You want your child to respect you as the parent. You want your child to know that you are the adult in the home, and what you say should go because you are the adult. So that means you have to start early. So for me, I started discipline very early. So I didn't wait for him to become, be able to talk or talk back at me. He started the discipline pretty early and he grew up with that, knowing that there are certain consequences to unacceptable behavior and unacceptable things, actions that he may have done. So definitely, for what I would say, yes, definitely there's need for discipline, and there's need to start early, start the discipline in early, and make it very clear why that discipline is happening, what action has led to that discipline being given out. So yeah, sorry, I'm not sure. What was the question again?
You actually answered it. The question is, how can a single mom instill discipline in the son?
Okay,
That's
so
the question.
definitely set the boundaries early, start discipline early. When you're disciplining the child, make sure they know why you're disciplining them, and be consistent with the discipline, and let the child know that you are the adult and you're in charge.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Ario. You are in charge. Let the child know that you are in charge, and the discipline should start early. I love that. There is an adage. Is it a proverb or an adage? Both are the same. Adage and proverb. They are both the same anyway. I think so. They're both the same. In Nigerian language, that says that I'm looking for a way to really coin it. There is, fish. When a fish is strong, if you don't, you know what I'm trying to say now. You don't wait for this fish to be so strong until because you don't, do you understand? Because that if the fish is now strong, for you to break the fish,
it's hard.
Exactly. And so you have to start early, instill discipline early, so that the child knows this is the way you ought to go. This is the way you should go. Like we write, there is a verse in the Bible that says that when the foundation is faulty, what can anyone do? Nothing.
Exactly.
So we have to build the foundation early. Thank you so much, Mrs. Ario.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, our next question to you. I can hear some echo. Is it from me or from you?
No, everywhere's quiet here.
Okay. Now, our next question to you is, what are your views about a school of thought? Yes, I really love us to discuss this. What are your views about a school of thought that believes single moms raised challenged children?
I think that's a tricky one. First and foremost, I'm thankful that God has given me a child that is well behaved. So I know that not all parents enjoy that benefit. So I am grateful to God for giving me a child that listens when I speak to him. Now, raising a challenged child, I don't think it has anything to do with single parenthood. I think it just has to do with the general discipline of the home and the family. There are lots of children that are from homes with mom and dads that have turned up not quite well, or not how the society would expect them to turn out. So in that case, who do you blame? And likewise, there are families where a single parent has raised a child, and unfortunately, the child has gone the wrong way, so to say. Again, there are families where single parents have raised children that have turned out to be absolute stars, children that you're proud of. So I think for me, that school of thought is not necessarily correct. And in my case, I refute that because, like I said, I'm thankful that God has given me a child that has turned out well and that is turning out well. And I have raised him up by myself for a long time. And thankfully, now I have the support of a husband to share that burden with. But I refute that argument that a single parent raise challenged children. I think it stems from the discipline in the home. It stems from what the value in that home is, whether single or both parents. I think that's the core issue, the value of the home, the discipline of the home, how that child has been raised in terms of standards. What standards were set by the parents? Be it single parents, be it mom and dad, what standard has been raised? And how has poor decisions been challenged? Because it's important that poor choices are challenged from an early age, so the child knows right from wrong. God has given us that free will to make the good choice and the bad choice. And as parents, we have a duty to lead our children, all right? To give them the values to be able to make the correct choice. So I don't think it has anything specifically to do with being raised by a single mom, or it's just do with discipline in general, in my opinion.
Wow, I really love the answer that you gave. I'm supporting your own school of thoughts, really, because that is
Yeah.
my own school of thoughts too. I don't believe that there are lots of children that were being raised by, in fact, some of them, their parents are even pastors. And by the time you see them on the street, they are wayward children, which we all see is everywhere all over the world. You understand? Their parents are good parents. Their parents are doing well, you know. But what went wrong in the process of life, that is what we cannot really tell now. But, but now saying that because it's a single mom that raised a child, that made the child to be wayward, I don't believe in that. Sincerely, I do not believe in that. My mom raised me all by herself. My mom raised 5 of us. Well, my father, it's just that he was outside the country, so she was the only one we were seeing, and we all turned out well. Do you understand?
Yeah,
So I'm not of that school of thought, really. I'm not of that school of thought. But
exactly.
now I want to ask you another question, further to what you said now, that you thank God for the child that God gave you. You know, not everybody are too lucky to have such a child, which is fine. Does that mean that we should all fold our hands now and say that, you know, he's a child that God gave to me? If you are saying that God gave me a good child, so what of those that their children are wayward? Does that mean it's God that gave them the wayward children?
Uh, I wouldn't want to think that God has given anyone specifically a wayward child,
Okay.
because the God that I serve, he doesn't give gifts that are bad. That's my opinion. And the reason why I said I thank God for the child that I have is because, yes, I am thankful that how my child is turning out. Is I like what I see in him. But in general, I don't think any baby that comes to this earth has been destined to be wayward. Things go wrong and along the way, and I can't sit here either and put all the blames on parents, because we still find homes where children have been raised the right way. Whilst they are at home, they know the right thing, they make the right choices, but as soon as they become independent, they go the other way. And in that case, they are adults, old enough to make their own choices. Do we still blame the parents for that? I don't think so. I think once a child becomes an adult, they are fully responsible for the choices that they make. And whatever choice they make, be it good or bad, um, shouldn't be held, the parents shouldn't be held responsible for it. I'd like to think if I did something now, that my parents wouldn't be held responsible for it, because I'm a full grown adult capable of making my own choices. So, what I would say to that is, whilst the child is still under your roof, it's important that you instill discipline. It's important that you teach the child um, right from wrong. It's important that you explain to the child how things could turn out badly if they make the wrong choice. Now, when the child grows up and they leave your home and they start making poor choices, all you can do in that case is pray, because they are now adults capable of making their own choices. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do.
Yeah, so I don't think any child, God has given any parent, any child to say, this is a wayward child, have, this is my gift to you. That's not the God that I serve. That's not the God that I believe in. I think things go wrong along the way. Sometimes it's due to lack of discipline. Sometimes it's due to the child growing up and making the wrong choice, not necessarily because the parents haven't done their job.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Ario. In fact, when I asked that question, I was looking at the question from a two-side, no, is it two-coin side now? That was the way I was looking at it, that fine, God gives.
Yes.
It's left for parents to raise the child well in terms of discipline and all sorts. That was the angle at which I was looking at it from. But when you gave me the answer now, you are now telling me, in fact, the answer I gave is not from the two sides of the coin now. 3 angles. That's sincerely, that's where I saw it, which is very, very key and it's very deep. Number one, there is a place of God in all of these things. Number two, there is a place of the parents raising up the children well, tutoring them well, giving them the right, instilling the right values in them. You understand? And the third one now is left for the child.
Yes.
Decide the way in which him or her we go.
Exactly.
My parents will do theirs. God has done it by creating. The parents has done theirs by instilling the right discipline, the right values. It's now left for the child to take all of these things. And because the life is yours, for you to now walk that right path that has been given to you. In fact, that's a very good one. I remember somebody said something a long time ago, and he said that Bible says that train up a child in the way he should go. Bible did not say that was that child. Just train the child. If the child decides not to go, this is the fault of the child, which is really, really key. God is not even, he's not a very fussy person. He's not fussy. You understand? He allows you to make your own decisions and do your own thing.
That free will. Yes.
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you so much, Mrs. Ario. You see, it's nice to have you. You've been able to break it. In fact, good teacher you have. Now our next question to you, Mrs. Ario, is what responsibilities should a single mom hand over to the son without bothering the young shoulder?
Yeah, I think with that, it's just household chores. It depends on the age of the child. There are always things they can do. So if they are toddlers, you can start teaching them to tidy up after themselves when they play with their toys. So instead of you killing your back and picking up after them every day, you can start by asking them to pick the toys up, and you can support them, of course, but you can start by asking them to pick up after themselves so that they know that when I've made a mess, I need to tidy up after myself. I think as they grow up, what I did with my son was start with the dishes, washing dishes. If you don't have a dishwasher, even if you have a dishwasher, I would say it's a good skill for children to have. If the dishes are not much, there's nothing wrong with asking a child who's about 7 years old to wash the dishes for you. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Again, I would say tidying up their rooms. The last thing I want to be doing now is to tidy up my 12-year-old's room. It's his room. He changes his beddings. He does his laundry. That's because we started early, telling him to do those things. So definitely household chores are things that children can start doing at home. You wouldn't expect a child to start paying financially when they are still young. So that's a no-no. So definitely the responsibilities, the things that they can do, you should give them time and opportunity to start that early. It just instills good value in them. It makes sure they know that there are things to be done at home. Because there are parents that are still ironing for their teenage children, even children that go to universities. Some parents still go to their university flats to clean for them, and you're just wondering.
Really?
Yes, I have seen it. I have seen it. The mom would go get the dirty laundry on a Friday, go back on the Saturday, clean the flats, and return the laundry It's just no, that's a no for me. So there has to be a point where the child begins to take responsibility. And I don't want to place an age to that, because different children are developed at different stages. So I think the parent needs to make that decision based on their child. What can this child do? Even if it's just to, like I said, tidy the toys. If that's all the child can do, then that's absolutely fine. That is one chore that you don't have to do. As they grow older, increase the responsibility so that the child can then take up more responsibilities in the home. So that's what I would say to that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mrs. Ario. You know, while I was looking at her and giggling was my 5-year-old son. So, like this, I was just thinking, you're growing. You should be doing some. So he's the kind of person that really loves to. Mommy, can I do this? Mommy, let me try. Mommy, let me try. That's a way of saying it. But sometimes I still take him to the bathroom. I just said, Mo, no. Very soon you'll be going for some trips. Mommy will not be there. Go to the toilet, clean up yourself, enter the bathroom, take your toothbrush, brush it yourself, do this yourself. He said, that he is always happy, always wanting to do it. But just allow him, take it. You've not done this, you have not done this, you have not done that. That's most, sometimes I don't even blame parents. We should not always look for the convenient ways, sincerely. Why am I saying this? Whenever my son is in the bathroom, pouring water on himself, the floors will be filled up with water. And I'll be wondering that, please, I don't want to go through this stress because I want to teach you. So I now be the one you will not be able to do that. I now told myself that, if you don't start now, when will you start it? Do you understand? It might not be convenient because I still have to go and clean up the whole place. But if I don't start now, when will you learn?
Yeah.
Do you understand?
I think you're absolutely correct. It's not going to be convenient at the start. It's not going to be convenient at the beginning. I know when my son started washing dishes, I had to wash them again. It took a long while actually, for him to be, especially oily dishes, for him to wash them properly. But at least he was doing it. And now he can do it. I don't have to go over it again. So it will take time, but let's give them that opportunity to start early if we can.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Ario. Thank you. I have another question for you. Are there what are the corrective measures that should be used for some children? Because sometimes when you have teenagers, as a single mom that you're raising teenagers, they have their own opinions already. You understand? They have their own opinions. Mommy no, mommy this, but daddy no, daddy this. You understand? So what are the corrective measures in which we can use for these children without not necessarily breaking them down?
I think number one, know your child. Know what you can say to that child, or what that child would feel if you were to withhold, for example, if it's the case of discipline, because there are some children that you say, oh, you can't do this, of like, oh, it doesn't really matter, I don't really care about it anyway. So you have to look for things, know your child. For me, I talk to my son. I'm not necessarily the shouty type. I talk to him and he responds well to that, because that was how we started in terms of him growing up. There are some children that would not work for. If you talk to them, it's like you're literally wasting your breath. So in that case, you have to devise avenue that works for that child to have conversations with them. If it's a teenager that is just starting to explore things, just starting to explore the world around them, it's the only way you can get through to that child is by knowing them. Because if you don't know that child and you don't really know what you can use to draw their attention back to where you want them to be. So number one, I would say know your child. Yes, they would want to explore things. It's all part of growing up. And try as you might, there's only so much we can do to stop a child from exploring certain things. There was only so much my parents could do to stop me from exploring certain things. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing in itself, but what needs to be established is you still being in control. I think that's where most parents lose it. They just lose that control. You still have to be in control. Now, like I said, it will be different for different families. It will be different for the relationship that you have with your child. It doesn't matter how you do it. It's important that you're still in control. That as the head of the home, that you're still in control. That if that child comes to you to say, give me £50, for example, I'm going to town with my friends. Okay. This is your own hard-earned money. You're not just going to hand it to that child. A child that has been unruly all week. A child that has been disobedient all week. A child that has literally disobeyed everything you asked them to do all week. You're not just going to hand them the £50. You're going to try and give them opportunity to earn it. To earn it. So I would say, make sure you are in control. Look for, even if it's the littlest of things, hold on to the control that you have. Don't lose that control, because once it's gone, it's going to be very difficult to get it back, especially with teenage children.
You should be in charge. Be in charge. And for different homes is relative. So what is, viable in my home might not be in yours.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm very careful not to say this is what works for everybody, because it doesn't. And that's the truth. So that's why I don't generally agree with the school of thought that do this, it will work, because it might not work. So you have to understand, you have to understand your home. You have to understand your children or your child. And you are the child's parents, for heaven's sake. You brought that child to earth. So you know how that child ticks. It doesn't matter how big they think their wings are beginning to grow. There are still things you can do to reel that child in. And I think parents need to take control of that.
I love you so much. I guess maybe that's the reason I'm even sticking to you, Seth. Because I don't learn principles of raising a child. Don't learn thousands of how the child can grow well. Do you understand?
It doesn't work for everyone.
Exactly. It doesn't. It's relative. Yes. Children are different. We are all different human beings. And God himself raised us differently. And he wants us to wait that not just this particular way that needs us to work. Most times it's not like that. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Though, the child might not necessarily do things the way that you want it to do. That doesn't mean that the child is wrong in what they are doing. So it then takes you as the parent to reorientate yourself, to adjust your mindset to what that child is doing. Because I have seen cases where the parents want the child to be very good at maths, but that child is not good at maths. But the child is excellent at and DT work. Are you then going to kill that child because they are not good at maths? You need to reorientate yourself to say, okay, this child is good at art. How can I make sure this child is the best that they can be in this field? So I think it goes both ways. It's not necessarily, a child not doing what we want doesn't necessarily mean they are bad. We need to understand what they want and what they're doing as well.
Thank you so much. You reminded me of someone. One of the guests that we invited some time ago, he said most parents do not understand their children. That's, the way he broke it down, in fact, I was like, hey, I'm really... He said leadership is all about staying in front. Yeah. No, you can lead from behind. You can lead from the side. Our mentality is the leader, you have to be in front. He said no. So understand your child. For the fact that your child did not come first in class, that doesn't make your child a dullard. Yes. For the fact that your child is not even 1 to 10, that doesn't make your child a dullard. He is good in some areas of life. And in that area, he might even be the genius that you are not discovering. Because you feel, you are not second, you are not this, you are not that, you are a bad child, you are a bad this, do you understand? Your child might even be number 20. That there are some things at which your child is good at, only for you to discover. You understand? Another thing, that child might be the genius that you yourself do not know. So don't condemn anyone. Like you said now, reorientate yourself. What English did you use, Seth?
Yeah, reorientate yourself. That's what I
Exactly. Groom yourself well, know your child, be
yeah.
creative, get yourself to that level. Don't say, oh, this is where we used to do it. What of now? You understand? Learn it now and know what you are feeling so that we not lose these children. Thank you so much, Mrs. Ariyo. I'm really flowing. Thank you so much. Because maybe we are both from the school of thought. Anyway, thank you so much. Now let's ask the last question before we call it a date on this program. What advice would you like to give to single mom generally? What advice would you like to give to them? Because of that school of thought that I've been saying, we both said, we've made it clear now, we've made it known that that school of thought is not true. That is what people believe. When they see children that are wayward outside, oh, it's because he doesn't have somebody who can look after. It's because of this. You understand what they're saying? So, what advice can you generally give to single mom that are losing hope, that are fainting? I cannot continue again. I can't do it all alone. I am tired. I need somebody to be there for me. You understand? What
Yeah.
advice can you generally give to single
Um,
mom?
I mean, I don't want to sit here and undermine the role that men plays in the life of children. It's absolutely
Okay?
important. But if you find yourself in a situation where you have to do it all alone, I think the first thing that you need to tell yourself is, this is my cross, and I'm going to succeed at it. If you tell yourself that, then everything else that comes along the way is just a mountain for you to overcome. If you're raising a boy child that you see is definitely in need of a male presence in their life, I would say find a good man that you can make that child part of the child's life. So, for example, a pastor. A pastor will be a good person to fill that role. So, for example, at weekends, you might take that child to spend a few hours at your pastor's house. If you're raising a boy child that you see, because there are some boys that definitely need that male role model in their lives. Let's not trivialize that. Then, if that is the case, you need to create an opportunity where a male that you trust can fill that role. It doesn't have to be someone you're in a relationship with. It doesn't have to be someone that you're even related to. It has to be someone that you trust, someone that you would like your son to grow up to be, someone that you admire. So you can definitely build that connection there for that person to fill that role a little bit. It's not going to be a lot, obviously. I would imagine that that person has his own family too, but definitely someone that that child can go to if they feel they have a boy problem, as it were, to talk to. So build that connection there so that that person is there for that child to turn to if need be. But I think ultimately you have to come to the conclusion on your own that this is my child. I want this child to grow up to be a well responsible adult or young man in the society. And I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that that happens. That means if I have to discipline in him, then discipline is what I'm going to give him. That means if I have to sit him down to learn his book, then that's what I'm going to do. That means if I have to take him to church, take him to prayer meeting, take him to Bible study, for him to have those values, then that's what I'm going to do. You have to be ready to put in the work. It's not easy. My son was going to football training twice a week. He was doing other extracurricular activities. There was a time I didn't even have a car, but I had to put it all in because I knew these were things that were good for him, things that are good for his growth and for his development. So you have to be ready to put in the work. And you can't just relax to say, oh, I'm a single mom, then let things slide. You can't do that. because I see homes where there are both parents, where the mom doesn't instill any discipline at all. She always says, "Let's wait for your dad. Wait for your daddy. I'll tell your daddy. Wait for your daddy. I'll tell your daddy." Excuse me, when you don't have the daddy to tell, you have to do it by yourself. So don't be shy from disciplining the child. Have a positive mindset towards what you want and your expectations for that child. I think that's the best advice I can give. Have a positive mindset. Don't be defeated just because you're a single mom. Get on with life. If you have a job, do it well. If you're at school, go to school and be something of yourself. Don't feel defeated just because you're a single parent raising a child. Have a positive mindset. Know what you want. Raise your child up the way that you want, and above all, ask for God to give you grace to succeed, because as we know, raising a child is not an easy task. You definitely need help from God. So that would be my advice in a nutshell.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Ario. Thank you so much. I want to digress a little from what you said. Not digress, it's still in line. And I think that is going to be the last thing before we call it a day. So we have 14 minutes more, but we finished really. Now let me now ask the question. Thank you for all the advice that you gave in this aspect, in this aspect, in this aspect. Instill discipline is good. Go to school. If you're doing your job, do it well. But I want to talk in the area of finance, because you said when we first started, you said finance was, of course, a great deal. That God helps you and you're able to surmount it. Now, in this area of finance, that's a single mom is difficult, really. Is really, really difficult. What advice? Because I've seen a lot of single moms. Sincerely, it's something that was discussed. That so see, I just need a man. Man for what? I need a man in this area of finance. I have to get one. I have to this. And I looked at myself sincerely, because I personally, I said, see, I will not be the one that will advise you. Reason being that if I tell you, tell me I do not understand. And sincerely, I want to tell you that I do not understand, but I guess I understand. And reason why I'm saying this is that I was a single girl. Maybe I was not raising a child by myself. I always believe that if I'm a woman or anyone in life should do something tangible, work well. Things is not always easy for anyone. Even in homes, things are not always easy. It's not left for you to make that decision. I don't have to prostitute my body for me to get money. I don't have to look for a man for me to like get on in life. Do I need a man for me to clothe myself? Do I need a man for me to eat? Do you understand? Do I need a man to do this? So why? I understand there is a father figure. That why you now say that it's because of finance. Me, I don't understand. Maybe you are the single mom, and yeah, guess what today? You can help us to clarify that, please.
I mean, you can't underestimate the importance of finances in the home.
Okay.
Having the income to run your home is a big deal. But what? I mean, there are times where I had to work night shifts, work day shifts, just change your pattern. And based on childcare, it's a big deal. So I think in terms of finance, what all I can say is find something to do. It might not be that dream job that you want. It might not be where you see yourself or where you anticipated that you would be. But I believe in getting by and doing the needful. I'm a great believer of doing the needful. Yes, you want this great thing. Yes, you want this big job. Yes, you spend time in university doing this. But the here and now, you still need to put food on the table. You still need to clothe yourself. You need to buy clothes for your children or for your child. I believe in the needful. And I would say in that case, find something to do. If it's care job, do it. If it's cleaning, do it. If it's support work, it's just short hours shift to get you by if you're struggling for childcare. there's definitely something out there. It just takes you seeking it out and doing it. And when it comes to childcare, I would admit that childcare is a big deal. It's a problem when you're a single parent. Find good friends that can help you. That's something that I definitely benefited from and that I am thankful for. I had friends that could support with childcare. That means I could go out there and earn some money and knowing that my child was safe. So if you're one that's childcare is a problem, I would say find good friends that can genuinely support you. And please don't sit idle waiting for a man to come and cater for your needs. You have a woman has exactly the same number of hands as a man does. So there's nothing, absolutely nothing stopping you from going out there to get the job and get the money in. Absolutely nothing at all.
Thank you so much, Auntie Wee. I really love the answer you gave. And I'm sure our single mom must have heard that from her now. So it's not that Tosin is just the one that is just blabbing because she's not in her shoes, really. But because I remember the answer that I gave to them is, okay, if you say it's because of the man, you want to go and get this money. I'm tired, I want to cut the short, understand, the way it is now. So at the end of it, by the time we get married today, let's assume that you're married today and my husband is not doing anything, or probably is doing something.
Yeah.
Something just went wrong one way or the other. Does not mean I will get sidelined. I will now. Do you understand the way it is now? So it's always like that. Financial problem is always everybody one way or the other. Anyhow, you will still have financial crisis one way or the other in your life. But how are you able to manage it? That is the question. Do it well. Do the needful, like our guest said. Do the needful. Don't just sit down idle. And I sincerely want to use, maybe this is the opportunity now to appreciate our guest. She said something that she benefited a lot from childcare from her friends. I also benefited a lot from our guest with childcare. I remember when I came into Newcastle newly. Please, it's an opportunity to we finish all the questions. I just want to appreciate our guests and our viewers. Then we call it a day finally. That is what I'm doing now. When I live in Newcastle, then when I newly came to Newcastle, looking for where to put my own child so that I can earn some money too. I cannot just be sitting down idle without money, really. So I was looking for where to put my child. And thank God for Mrs. Aria, our Auntie Uyi, like my son, we always say, Auntie Uyi, Auntie Uyi. Was the one that was always taking care of my child for me, looking after Muewola. And today, Muewola, I cannot really say a lot because anytime we are passing through that house, say, Mommy, I can Auntie Wee, because she really did a lot for us. Thank you so much, Auntie Wee. We really appreciate it. God bless you for your generous hearts, for your generosity, for your kind hearts. For your generosity, for your kind heart. We really appreciate you. And we want to appreciate all our viewers today. Thank you. Somebody said financial issue is not linked to gender. Even men go through it. It's never an excuse. Yes, it's never an excuse. So don't go and look for a man because you are tired of raising your child. It's your own child. So thank you so much, all our viewers today. Thank you so much. Really, we have time, but we have to close. We have finished all our questions. Somebody said, well said, Mrs. Rio, the needful should be done to accommodate whatever it is we want in life. Yes. And somebody, let me read this last one. And I say, bye-bye, everyone. A very great point given by Mrs. Ario. Setting boundaries, maybe just a simple question. How does she balance between being in charge and being over controlling in parenting?
I think giving your child a choice too, because they are still human beings, they still need to be able to make their own choices. So yes, being in control and guiding them aright, but also giving them a choice to make a decision on certain things. I think that's the way that you can balance it.
Okay. Would you like to repeat that again?
Yes, you as the parent, what I said is you're in control and you're in charge of the home. but children are still their individuals, and we should listen and hear them. So if there is a choice that needs to be made, let's give them a choice on certain situations that we know they can decide on. Let's give them a choice to make that decision.
All right. Thank you so much, Mrs. Aria. Like I said, this is where we're calling it a date on our program this evening. And I want to appreciate all our viewers for coming online. And Mrs. Aria, we appreciate Therapy Marriage Live once again. Say us well to Mr. Aria and I for us for the great work you are doing in their life. Thank you. We are saying thank you. And we meet again next time, I remain my humble self and your loyal friend, Oluwatosin Oladimeji Ladipo. Till then, stay blessed and bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, our viewers. We appreciate all of you. Thank you.